All right, guys, from the Space Coast to Los Angeles, we've got some action here on News Now from Fox out of the Los Angeles area. 6:47 a.m. there on the West Coast, where police are in pursuit of a car on one of the local freeways there. I'm going to bring up the audio for a little bit here on News Now from Fox because Stu Mundell, who is the reporter from their chopper, is doing a live report right now. So let's listen in.
Roxy, first of all, I have to apologize. They were asking us about the map and things, and but then we're in a backup helicopter. That was more for our producers.
Okay, guys, so it does not appear that Stu is doing a live report right now, but as you can see, this car is speeding down the freeway. We are not sure of why the local police department had pulled them over in the first place. I'm going to leave this shot up for just a second as we get in touch with our Fox 11 Los Angeles team to hopefully get Stu to do a report for us. So bear with us for just a second here on News Now from Fox. I'm going to leave this shot up here for just a few minutes.
That something's going on. Vinny, can you push into that car just a little bit tighter there? I think maybe those officers that we were talking about just moments ago put out some spike strips because it definitely looks like the driver front is going flat. So hopefully this thing is going to start coming to an end out here as that first tire really starting to get flat out there. But definitely, and you know, this is something that those officers, you know, from California Highway Patrol, all law enforcement, these are things that they really have to, you know, balance out. They have to figure out how they're going to do this. In this case, you know, disabling that vehicle on the freeway, taking out a tire, you know, it there. Definitely, and you know, this is something that those officers, you know, from California Highway Patrol, all law enforcement, these are things that they really have to, you know, balance out. They have to figure out how they're going to do this. In this case, you know, disabling that vehicle on the freeway, taking out a tire, you know, if the tire goes flat and he pulls over, that's one thing. But if now they have an impaired vehicle and still trying to get away from law enforcement, this could turn into something completely different. Yeah. It definitely slowing down. Definitely slowing down. Yeah, and you know, Roxy and Tony, that's one of the things we watch these chases all the time. And if that vehicle not stopping and law enforcement, they have information. They can figure out who this car belongs to. This is getting a little bit tense right here because this car definitely down one tire right now. The speeds seem like they're almost speeding up. Maybe it's a little bit of that dust and dirt. Definitely all the way in the emergency lane. But you just kind of got to wonder, this person now with a vehicle that's a little bit impaired, could be a lot impaired depending upon, you know, that driver's skill set. But you just got to wonder, why do you keep running if this really was, as we've been saying, just a traffic stop? This person refusing to stop this morning, and now that tire going flat. I have a feeling we're going to see parts of that coming off that car here in just a moment or two. Yeah. Yeah, definitely, and it looks like they just went through another spike strip. So you're going to kind of wonder if they're going to try, if they're going to have more than one flat tire. Again, these are the types of situations where law enforcement they've got to make these decisions down there. You know, disabling those, you know, taking out those tires. It could stop the car, but then again, it could set up a situation where now this driver has less control of that vehicle, continuing with high speeds. I'm kind of looking up ahead, and just we've been staying on the 405 freeway out here, and now there is no more emergency lane, so back in with traffic, and now we know for a fact at least one flat tire, possibly going to be losing a couple more here as this chase continues. Southbound 405, and I'll get you that city here in just a second. There goes the tire. Yep, there goes the tire. Yeah, and now we're down to the rim. Now those vehicles can drive like that, but you've got to know. Now all of a sudden it's like driving in snow or ice or something like that. That one wheel doesn't have that traction anymore, and right now that wheel is solid. But eventually that's going to start coming apart as well. Vehicles can drive like that, but you've got to know. Now all of a sudden it's like driving in snow or ice or something like that. That one wheel doesn't have that traction anymore, and right now that wheel is solid. But eventually that's going to start coming apart as well. That's usually when we see those cars start giving up before the driver. But you just, again, I'm just dumbfounded. Why is this woman running from law enforcement this morning? Hopefully nobody gets hurt. Oof. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and you know, the speeds are really picking up too. I'm not sure, but you know, the speeds are really picking up, and we all know, we've been just talking about you know, this vehicle less able to drive quickly, less able to perform. If they have to stop suddenly, you have no tire on that front wheel, so now you're down, you know, a quarter of what your braking capabilities are. And we don't know. That other spike strip might have taken out a tire on the other side, but this person continuing to push that little car this morning, I'm not sure exactly what it is. Might be a little Ford Focus down there, but really, you know, that truck basically driving next to this person probably saying, hey, don't you know you got a flat tire? And he's got to know that law enforcement is behind him. So yeah, no tire. Yeah, no tire at all. And it's kind of weird that that one truck is just kind of hanging out there. We talked about that in the past as well. If law enforcement's chasing a vehicle, steer clear, stay away. You know, even if that person has the best intentions, you know, the law enforcement, all of them, they just want to handle this on their own, and they just don't want to see anybody get hurt. Ugh. Definitely, and we've been talking about that. It's, you know, we want to kind of see the other side of the vehicle, see if they lost a tire. Maybe now that another one of the front tires is going flat, and that could be a really good thing. Especially, you know, we know these little cars, front wheel drive. If they have both the tires, both actual rubbers missing from those front wheels, now you're just running on rims. It's going to have a hard time stopping, but it's also going to have a hard time getting going again once it does stop. That female driver right now, it's the first time we're actually getting to take a look in the front seat there. I see something in the passenger side, so they said it was just the driver by themselves. Hopefully that it is just that, and maybe there's just things in that front seat. But we're taking a look. We're going to get onto the other side of the car there, see if that passenger side front is going flat as well. Yep. Yep, definitely, and so that second attempt right there, if that was another attempt for the spike strip, then they weren't able to get the tires. Also, Roxy, I'm kind of with you. You mentioned it. I'm hoping that's not a pet. Looks like we are going to be exiting the freeway right here. We'll get you some streets here in just a second, but this would be the opportunity if there are no other civilian cars around, and there are quite a bit. This might be a spot where the California Highway Patrol might be able to use a pit maneuver. There you go. You saw those sparks coming off that front wheel when they were locking it up right there as they're coming up to traffic. This is one of those ones where a lot of people at home, you know, they're armchair generals. They're like, just block them in. You know, they just can't do that. It's just not their policy. And again, their attempts right now is, even though that's a suspect, they don't want to see anybody get hurt, and that's including that suspect, and they don't want to put him in a position where they're going to block him in and then something dangerous is going to happen. Looks like, nope, we're not getting back onto the freeway. We'll get you some streets here in just a moment, but now off of the freeway, on the surface streets, and we are definitely going to be in the Mission Viejo area. We car back to their home, or they feel safer there for some reason. We just don't know. We're working. I'm working with Vinny and our pilot this morning. We're trying to make sure we stay in a position where we can keep an eye on this car. All these times they're in traffic like that, we've seen these in the past, and I just kind of wonder if this person really has a destination for some reason. Maybe they just want to get the car back to their home, or they feel safer there for some reason. This is one of those situations where, whatever the reasoning is, we're still working to get hear exactly the street names, but you can see this chase continuing, and again, very little traffic, but when we come up these red lights, you know that car impaired, hitting the brakes hard there. At least they stopped at the traffic light. There's over there. That's right, Roxy, and you know we've talked about that in the past as well. You know, if he's running a stop sign, if he's not using his blinker or something, this could be the time when they could do the pit maneuver. You can see that car kind of just the wheels spinning right there as they're trying to get that speed up, and that's what we were talking about. With no tire on there, his stopping abilities are impaired, but then also his driving, you know, the go part is, you know, acceleration impaired as well. That one California Highway Patrol vehicle looks like they want to set it up, but they want to make sure that they're going to be safe, and they want to make sure that there's no oncoming traffic as well or cars around it. We're getting Skyfox back into position here, and we'll keep an eye on this chase. That might be the way they bring it to an end, or they might have information that this vehicle is going to a residence because they know where that vehicle is registered to. So maybe they are just kind of weighing it out. Should we just follow, or maybe we should try to bring this thing to an end? Just right for sure, and we've seen it in the past where, you know, the California, or any law enforcement, they'll go ahead, they'll do those pit maneuvers, and it'll be a little too fast, or we're so used to watching this, we know the procedures, and we'll watch something like that, and we just kind of go, oh, he's good, look how fast, and they do. You know, there is a reason behind why they do it when they do it, and we've seen them go south, we've seen them go wrong, and we also seen him act very well. Here we go, a hard stop again, and looks like he's trying to, oh, look at that. See, this is where it's going to start getting really dicey, and this is where the California Highway Patrol is going to say they're taking too many chances, and they're going to try to bring this to an end.
If you're just joining us here on News Now from Fox, good morning. It is Monday, May 3rd, 2021, 10 o'clock here on the East Coast, 7 o'clock there on the West Coast. You've been listening in to Fox 11 Los Angeles' Stu Mundell reporting on this police chase. They appear to be going after that silver in color, what I believe is a Ford. Now, whether or not it's a Ford Focus or not, I'm not quite sure. Don't know what the vehicle is wanted for, or the driver anyway, but we're going to continue to listen in to Fox 11 Los Angeles' Stu Mundell reporting from Skyfox. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday.
He just might not be able to go anymore. California Highway Patrol, they're tasked with a difficult question: how to bring this thing to an end. There's just saying it was just a traffic stop. You know, it wasn't. The person wasn't wanted for anything. I can tell you, we're going to be southbound. I believe we're on Alicia Parkway, and it looks like we're passing over the 73. No interest on that road, so we're going to continue on Alicia Parkway. And again, California Highway Patrol right there in that person's rearview mirror. All they have to do is pull over. That would bring it to an end. Until then, it's dangerous for everybody involved.
I stand corrected, everybody. Stu just corrected me by saying this started as a regular traffic stop. The driver wasn't wanted for anything. As you can imagine, flying around in a helicopter, the signal coming in and out, so sometimes the screen may freeze or flash to blue or flash to color bars, but hopefully it continues to come back. Again, we've been listening in to Fox 11 Los Angeles. This is Stu Mundell reporting from Sky Fox, this police chase.
That's right, Michaela. And, you're right. This vehicle, for the most part, stopping or trying to stop at when it needs to be safe. We did see it run that one light earlier on, but it basically was just trying to, here we go again. There's another green in the center there, hard on the brakes. You saw a lot of smoke coming from that front wheel. And this oddness to have, sirens are probably going, and just to be now sitting there waiting for the light. This is one of those situations. People getting out of the way. Well, but we're on Alicia Parkway. We're trying to work on that cross. It does seem to be pretty much of a major cross right there. So I'm guessing, I'm going to take a guess right now, that's Aliso Creek Road. And again, there you go, Michaela, that's what you were talking about. Slow on the go. There's no traction on that front wheel. This time we didn't see her really kind of hammer it and see that spark in the spinning of the wheel, just kind of going a little bit slower. You're right. The officers, and we've been watching, California, and especially out here in the southern part of California. Now we're in Orange County. We are very tender with our way we handle our pursuits, meaning these officers have a lot of protocol and a lot of discipline, and they will plan this out, and they have to weigh the pros and cons. How dangerous is it? How quick, why do we want to get this car off the road? In this case, to weigh the pros and cons. How dangerous is it? How quick, why do we want to get this car off the road? Mm-hmm. In this case, they are really just following right now, which is interesting enough. The lights and sirens, I'm sure, are going to be helping anybody at those intersections. We did see moments ago, I don't know, because we had that signal, we have those signal issues, other vehicles that were around that car at the light basically do lightweight illegal things to get away from that vehicle. So clearly that law enforcement, that California Highway Patrol, using the lights and sirens, people around it doing what they're supposed to do, give this person room, give those law enforcement folks their space as well. But the chase, it continues out here. Very strange indeed. And I'm going to get you a city here as we've been making our way.
It's Laguna Niguel.
Yep, here we go.
Okay, we've got a situation happening here.
There we go.
Either is going to stop or trying to turn.
That's it. That's it. That's
this
it.
Is the end of the
Doing
pursuit.
a little bit of a push. And again, it is so, until that person is out of that vehicle, this could end it very badly, very quickly, if they use that car to try to hurt those officers or continue driving. Right now, though, the one officer, weapons out, the other officer seems to be talking, but those doors not unlocked. So they might have to forcefully get this person, this woman, out of that driver's seat. We'll keep an eye on it. There we go. Looks like right now they're just trying to get her attention, but it's just so bizarre that these sometimes you just don't get out and just just put the cuffs on yourself, maybe even. This is putting so many people at danger. But that one officer right now holstering the weapon, and it looks like they're getting out something to break the windows to get that driver out of the car.
All right. We have somebody on the line with us who knows a little bit more about this kind of situation, how tense they can be. Dennis Zine is former LA City Councilor and also former LAPD with the LAPD. It's really good to talk to you, and I'm sorry that it's over these circumstances. You know all too well about the intensity of a moment like this. It looks like they're breaking the glass to get into the vehicle. they have to make sure they keep themselves safe. They want to try and keep the person that's driving this vehicle as safe as possible. There's a lot of calculations that go into something like this, Dennis.
Absolutely, and good morning to you and the viewers and Stu above in Skyfox. Well, it's a precarious position. The officers, they're in extreme danger in this particular location. Fortunately, the individual is not doing any resisting other than not complying. They will break the window. They use an asp or a baton, a PR-24, break the window to extricate. There we go. They're going to break the window, get the person out of the car. This is a very, very dangerous position for the officers as well as for the individual in the car, because you have no idea what they're into. We're going to get the person out of the car, take into custody. But this stop came to a unique stop. You don't want to have the vehicle in the front. You just want to take them into custody as quickly and as simply as possible. But all those officers were extremely exposed to danger just because of the position where that car stopped and the police car. Yeah, very, very dangerous. But fortunately, it looks like it's going to end with a code 4 and taken into custody. But this is not the way you want to stop the car. They had no alternative, no choice. Sufficient deputies there, highway patrol. It may be Orange County sheriffs also, but the bottom line is it's going to come to an end, and they'll be taken into custody. Why they do this, we never know. Stu knows from his experience. I know from my experience. No reason, no logic, and expose many, many people to danger. But fortunately, this is going to come to an end, but very, very dangerous for the officers. Individual probably will resist to some extent, but sufficient officers there to take them into custody.
Over the years, I've covered my share of pursuits, unfortunately, and I know you've seen your share of them, and Stu certainly has seen his share. And, you know, there's been any number of things that have caused people to run from police, to flee from police, to lead people on a pursuit. But I'd argue that now we've got more troubled people, given what we've just been through, and I think there's a lot of desperation, and so who knows what exactly the state of mind of this driver was. But I'm glad to know that it is over, and that there's no public risk anymore, and we're hoping that that person can get the help they need. Again, the culmination of a pursuit, if you're just tuning in, it ends here. We believe it's Laguna Niguel. It had been on the 405 for some time, reaching high speed at several points during the pursuit. We believe it is a female driver that has now been placed under arrest. You can see it looks as though they're cuffing her on the back of that patrol car. A little tiny vehicle. At some point, they used a spike strip and were able to puncture the driver's side front wheel, and that certainly made it more of a challenge for that driver to maneuver that vehicle. I think that's a wrap for us here on this pursuit. Our thanks to Dennis Zine, former LA City Councilor and former LAPD officer. Good to chat with you.
Same here. Good to see you.